work. The brakes indeed work. Hey, you see me, I'm looking fresh now, and you know, I'm surprised you let me go that long without getting a haircut, but you know, I ain't the only one looking fresh now, because in the last video, which you should definitely go watch, like, I put a lot of time and effort into making that video, so like, please go watch. In the last video, we installed the Little Big Brake Kit from Flying Miata, and that included new brake rotors, new brake calipers, new stainless steel lines, and of course, new brake pads, both front and rear. And although my Miata is the club trim, it was not optioned with the BBS, Brembo, and Recaro package, so I figured this would be the perfect upgrade to kind of bring my car up to spec to the other Miatas that were optioned with that package. And if you're wondering which one is better, the Brembos or the Willwoods, I can't really tell you as I haven't driven a Miata with OEM Brembos, but I found this interesting clip from a Flying Miata video.
Factory Brembos on a 30th anniversary, better or worse than Willwoods? There is a significant difference in brake feel on the car with the Little Big Brake Kit with our Willwoods on it.
And for those that don't know, that was Keith Tanner from Flying Miata, by the way. So yeah, you heard it from the man himself. These Willwoods are apparently better than the OEM Brembos, but with all the boring explanations out the way, because I know you just want to see me drive this car like a maniac, it's finally time to put these brakes to the test. Okay, we are finally back on the not so private road. Feels great to be back, I'm not even gonna lie. But, well, you know, what are we here for? We're here to test out these brakes, and I'm gonna be honest, off rip, my first impressions, like, it feels like the brake pedal grew a bicep. Like if I had to put it to like a percentage, you know, a percentage of how much stiffer they actually are, they feel about 40% stiffer, I'm not gonna lie, and it's been great. And with, you know, we'll delve more as we get into the drive, but realizing like the Miata is such a momentum based car, and you know, when driving spiritedly, it's a good idea to, you know, use the brakes as, you know, least as you can, you know, because like I said, this car is a momentum car. Like when you're really using the brakes in a car like this, that means you're going slow. So, and you know, not to necessarily say our whole name of the game is going fast, but you know, we wanna use this car for what it was made for, right? And honestly, before going into this job, I was honestly expecting just that. I was expecting the pedal to feel just about 40% stiffer, give or take. And thankfully, these brakes, they definitely delivered. Thankfully, they delivered. And finally, I can trust my car going on, you know, the downhill sections of the not so private road without feeling like, you know, my brakes are gonna start fading and feeling like, you know, the pedal is just gonna go straight to the floor. Because I'll be honest, the moment when I really felt that the most is when I was, you know, out here doing my thing with my man DJ, I6 speed only. When I was, you know, when I was ripping it, you know, around like the last couple of sections, and I even talked about it in that video. When I was ripping it there, I was like, yeah, my brake fade. That's what brake fade is. Yeah, it was at that point I discovered what brake fade really means. And you know, one of the better, you know, advantages of this kit, and you know, just everything I'm feeling, the brakes feel 40% stiffer, but they don't feel any more touchy. Like they don't feel any more sensitive to inputs, and they feel familiar. Like, you know, they feel like the same set of brakes that I had before, like the stock brakes. They feel like that, but just like better. Like I don't know whether that's completely due to the stainless steel lines, because, you know, we did install those. I don't know whether that's due to, you know, how it's a one-piece caliper instead of, you know, a sliding caliper like how it was before, but they're better, and they're not more, I don't know, they're just not super sensitive, and that's one thing I definitely wanted when getting new brakes. and, and when really getting on them, like, you can feel more of the weight transfer of this car. And you know, for a car like this that has as much body roll as a car like this, that is definitely a good thing. But I mean, hey, if you know, if you are an avid watcher of my videos, you know about this road. So let me send her real quick. Yep, the brakes work. The brakes indeed work. Yep. I can carry just a bit more speed through those sections, I'm not gonna lie, and that is great. That's exactly what I wanted out of this brake kit. Now, aside from the way the pedal actually feels and focusing more on, you know, pad performance, they're seemingly pretty damn good. Like, you know, they've never squeaked once, you know, while driving. They don't seem to dust all that often. I did just wash the car yesterday, and, you know, while looking at the wheels, while cleaning the wheels, they didn't really seem to be dusting all that much. And I know that, you know, I had looked at the Willwood website, and they have data charts on, you know, graphs for each brake pad that they offer. And on the graph, it shows, you know, its optimal, you know, operating temperature. And for this pad, the Willwood BP20, it seems to work the best at around 900 degrees. And, you know, all things relative, that's like kind of hot. And it's, you know, not so hot right now. It's kind of like 43 degrees right now. So, and obviously I know, you know, the brakes are gonna be a lot hotter than the ambient temperature of the air. But, you know, regardless, for these brakes to work as best as they possibly can, you'll want to get them up to around 900 degrees. Oh, and one little tidbit, you know, the calipers, they're gray, they're like a silvery gray. And, you know, typically when it comes to caliper colors, it's deemed as a pretty boring color. And honestly, like, I don't really mind. Like, if they were red, I would have needed to, you know, take the rear calipers off, paint those red. If they were black, I'd need to paint match the rear calipers, you know, so I'm not looking like a goofball, you know. So, but thankfully, you know, the calipers, they're gray. They're silvery gray, you know, metal type color. So thankfully, you know, I don't have to do that. But, you know, talking more about, like, just fulfilling the vision I had for this car, it's definitely, like, changed over time. But how I'm looking at it now, like, through buying and researching, you know, what brake kit to buy and which one's right for me, I realized that, like, this car isn't gonna be a dedicated track car. Like, the life of this car is primarily just gonna be roads like this. And I, you know, went back and forth, had maybe a little bit of buyer's remorse. I'm like, oh shit, I have bought, you know, the more expensive Dynapro calipers. But really thinking about it more, like I said, this car is mostly gonna see roads like this. And, well, it will see, you know, a track day or two. You know, it will mostly be focused on, you know, street and tollgate duties, if you will. And honestly, you know, in the future, when this car doesn't become my only car, you know, in the future when I get multiple cars, when this becomes just one of the many cars I have in my fleet, even at that point, you know, this car is gonna primarily be seeing roads like this. And that's why, honestly, going with like a crazy, you know, 2-piece rotor, you know, even like something bigger like the 6-piston calipers, that really would have been unnecessary for this car. And like I said in my previous video, again, you should go watch that. Like I said in my previous video, this car is gonna stay naturally aspirated. I don't really care to, you know, throw a turbo on it, although I did recently see that BBR, the tuning shop in the UK, I believe, they offer some high lift cams for the Skyactiv engine, and now that's something I would definitely want to invest in, because having this thing, you know, it revs to 7,500 already, but to have it rev to 8,000, like that would be sick. Overall, kind of, you know, summing up my thoughts about this little big brake kit from Flying Miata, I think it has allowed me to be so much more confident when, you know, pushing the car, like, you know, to my limits, if you will. You know, I have a knack for saying that, but I think it really has, you know, allowed me to feel just quite a bit more confident when going into corners. Like I can brake so much later and know that the car isn't gonna, like, you know, just keep on going even though I'm putting more, you know, force into the pedal. Like before I did this, you know, did the upgrade, there was definitely a couple times where I'm like, brakes, hello, like I'm pumping the brakes, I'm like, hello, like the brakes, hello, they kind of just like left the chat. And I'm glad that this brake kit not only, you know, curtailed that, you know, habit, it also improved on just about everything. But again, overall, you know, I think from the confidence I'm feeling, you know, when really pushing the car and when really getting deep into the pedal, you know, the brake pedal, that is. Well, I mean, both the gas and brake. You know what I'm talking about, all right? From that confidence, I'm really starting to think more about how I could make this car better, not just faster, because everyone wants, oh, you got a Miata, throw a turbo on it. Nah, that's not how I'm looking at where this car is gonna end up. Like, next mod, I would really hope it's sway bars, you know. I would, because, you know, they're not the cheapest thing in the world, but, you know, they're also not the most expensive. Next mod, definitely sway bars. And then after that, honestly, like, I know Mazda has a aluminum pedal set. I know, and, you know, for when it's raining, it'll, you know, feel just a little bit more grippy, you know, because we all need some more grippy in our lives. Beyond that, I'd want to get something like a short shifter, something from like Craven Speed, like the Craven Speed short shifter, or the Cork Sport, I believe it's called. That short shifter, I know that one's good too. But just making like mods like that, that's what I'm really after for this car. Like, this isn't gonna be, you know, I gotta reiterate, this isn't gonna be, you know, pushing 250 horsepower, you know, ND Miata. It's gonna be, I want response, and I want the adaptability to, hey, if I'm just, you know, driving regularly, I want it to work then. But if I just so happen to, you know, get into a bit of a cat and mouse situation, you know, because we know that happens now when we're, you know, driving spiritedly on these roads. Shout out to my man Jason. You know, I want the adaptability to be like, all right, if I need to just go, you know, from driving, you know, regularly, daily driving, and then I'm in some crazy battle, you know, I need the brakes to be with me, you know, I need the brakes to hold my hand throughout all of it.
And that's precisely what these brakes do. You know, I think this kit is genuinely perfect for me and my use case, because I know this car isn't going to be seeing super serious lap after lap trying to find my personal best. And truthfully, I just want this car to be the most usable, the most adaptable for most situations, and really the best street Miata for someone who's just getting into the universe of modifying cars, aka me. But now, the main thing holding the car back from being a damn good sports car is a good set of tires, and by extension, suspension, slide bars, and of course, a good set of sway bars. But now that the brakes are taken care of, next on the list is definitely some sway bars. But until then, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for liking my videos. Thank you for commenting on my videos. And thank you for subscribing to my channel, because it genuinely means the universe to me. Not the world, it means the universe to me. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.